Hello! Happy Tuesday, everybody. This week's episode of Delve Requisite brought to you by the surface of the god-dang sun. It is hot. For those of us joining us from the United States, I'm sure you, like us, wherever you might be out there in internet land, are sweating your shorts off. You can see that, well, actually, you've elected for the beard anyway. There was a debate of whether we were going to do beardless Murderbeard. We've settled on, parrot head Murderbeard for tonight.
For now.
We got Margaritaville Murderbeard joining us tonight, folks.
May get a shave mid-stream, but for now.
I also have Nymue soaking herself with cold towels.
We have cold towel Nymue. We have cold towel Nymue sounds inappropriate. I apologize that I said that, everyone. We might have cell phone Kristy, depending on if overheating turns out. It's a whole thing tonight. It is 1,000,000 degrees, as I am American and therefore have no consciousness outside of the dumpster fire that is what's going on in my own country, and sort of Canada because of Kristy. I assume it's probably hot as hell where you're living too, so I hope you're staying cool out there, and we will do our best to not look sweaty and disgusting on stream tonight.
Unless you're our one Antarctica viewer, in which case, what's up?
Shout out to Elizabeth in
Elizabeth? That's the most disgusting name.
That's a Smosh reference. Shout out to Jeffrabith in Antarctica, who for some reason this is the one D&D stream he watches. Anyway, outside air is like warm soup. Sister Skull Kid, you ain't lying. It is hot as butts. Okay, so this week, besides hell, this week's episode of Delve Requisite is brought to you by our two sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. If you so desire, you can type exclamation point Little Dragon Corp or exclamation point CCG. I see those have both already been done for us. You can put those in chat at any point during the stream. You'll get a handy dandy link to their websites. You can click on them to go and check out their fantastic offerings. Little Dragon Corp, of course, a purveyor of dice primarily. They are based out of Canada and they are lovely, and I still don't have the dice set that I got from them up here at my setup here with me. I was using them for something else the other day. But if you are in need of a new set of gaming dice, consider shopping with Little Dragon Corp and using our code PROBONUS at checkout. And thank you to Cardboard Castle, a brick and mortar tabletop gaming store located in Evans, Georgia, here in the United States. But fret not if you are not in Evans, Georgia, or the environs there surrounding. You can still visit their website by using that exclamation point CCG, and they have a robust online shopping experience that you can get all sorts of tabletop gaming stuff. If you are in need of a new tabletop game, perhaps a card game, perhaps some dice, I'm sure they sell other stuff. Maybe you can email the owner and ask them if they will sell you an autographed hand-drawn picture of a horse. They might. I don't know. If you do that, please tell me if it works. I would be interested to know that information. So, those being our sponsors, let us proceed.
Also, Matt,
yes.
quickly, both of those sponsors, Matt, are doing special giveaways during birthday week here in about a month.
Thank you for reminding me. Birthday week
tuning in
is coming up.
We'll have
again already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like 2 months ago.
Again already.
The never slowing.
Happen once a year.
The never slowing inevitable march of time as we all creep inexorably closer to the grave. We celebrate the passage with festive balloons and free giveaways as Provo's birthday week approaches in about a month. Yes, there will be all sorts of special streams, special events, special giveaways. I may have offered up one of my famous, within the 5 people in this chat right now, hand-drawn maps as a prize for something, so consider checking it out. Stay tuned. Oh, Scylla playing the part of Jason tonight, disappearing during the opening announcements. Hello! She's back.
Sorry, I was moving my PC like 3 inches closer to me
All
so
right.
that my headphone is not like...
Sure. We're bringing real gremlin energy to tonight's stream, so prepare for that, everybody. It's hot
It'd be
in
worse
our...
than last week.
our
Whatever got into the Kool-Aid of last week.
Ooh, yeah, if you were with us last week, I'm sorry. It was one of the sometimes I...
How dare you? How dare you punch my family bush t-shirts will be for sale.
Sometimes you go into like an NPC fugue state where you just leave your body and become a fancy Ignean Empire noble lad, and then you have to be shown clips of stream later where you yelled things like "How dare you punch my family bush," and and get me my bad news hearing gloves.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's that's behind us. It's in our past. We're looking to the future on this episode of Delve Requisite. Tonight we are joined by the crew of the Grimm's Folly, our pirate adventurers. We last left them on the island of Naporia, a small insular nation that largely keeps to itself, but is legendary around the continent of Urhol for training some of the most deadly and fearsome mercenary warriors to be found anywhere, lunar warriors. Also happening to be the home of party member Nymue Gozen. Right? Should I say Gozen Nymue? That's culturally accurate, right? The last name should come first.
Yeah. I mean, she's used to both because she understands that there's cultural differences, so she'll respond to both.
But the party has been here for a number of days now. They thwarted an attempt by someone acting under the guise, it seems perhaps, of an Ignean Empire diplomat working instead for perhaps a more nefarious organization attempting to capture and or hinder and or harm some of the young hopefuls for initiation as types of individuals known within Naporia as soul-touched, or known mechanically, for those of you at home, as Kalashtar, those who have bound their souls with a spirit of the living planet upon which they inhabit. Having thwarted that attempt and sort of shifted the general attitude of this particular group of outsiders by some of the locals, the party is now debating what their next move will be, having reason to believe that something nefarious is taking place within the Ignean Empire as it relates to soul-touched Kalashtar, natives of Naporia. If you guys need any further refresher on some things that you have done, it's been a few weeks since we've been able to play, feel free to ask me questions. I will provide you with the answers to the best of my ability. Where I am not able to provide you with the answers, Brittney will, because she takes better notes than I do. And we can
of life?
What is the meaning of life?
Brittney,
Brittney, take it away.
There's one right answer to this, Brittney.
I believe the correct answer is 42.
There you go.
Oh.
Brittney knows what's up.
Brittney knows what's up.
So
If I didn't, you guys should just disown me for the record. If I ever don't answer that correctly, assume I've been taken over
She
by
answered
bodies.
that wrong. You would have seen like a man in a suit come through the window with like a really sharp knife.
I think the answer is just finding happiness in the simple things in life, and one of those like vaudevillian crooks just like hauls her off screen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will turn it back over to you guys. I believe to be a little bit more specific, I believe currently Murderbeard, Thyxes, and Nymue, we left you guys on the very small island where the Shrine of Harmony is located. Scylla, you had been you're sort of in like the fields in sort of the agricultural portion of the island, and Rowan, you're sort of you had checked up on some of the students who were involved in the battle that you guys had the other day, and are now just sort of like meandering about. So that's specifically where the group of you are. And we pick up shortly after the sort of the vision that Nymue had. She sort of grabbed Thyxes' journal and scribbled down some of the details of this vision. Scylla, you have concluded a ritual on the island to ensure that the harvests here in Naporia are bountiful and fertile for at least the next year, I believe. Yeah, the table is yours.
Well, I think we should head back.
I mean, I'm gonna just take some of like the dirt. Oh no, my internet's getting really bad again. I take some of the dirt and I bow and say thank you to the old man, and then I go to the ship.
It's funny because it was perfectly clear for me. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it looks fine.
It was all fun on our end. So from our end, it's just Scylla. Scylla's like grabs a handful of dirt. She's like, "Thanks, bye," and just bangs out of there.
I bow. I do the bow that Nymue showed me to the old guy, and I thank him, and then I will return to my friends.
Sure. Yeah, so you grab a handful of soil for yourself. You bow to...
Isn't it Koshiro?
I believe it is Koshiro.
Sure.
I found Hachiro, so that was...
It's Koshiro, yeah.
You bow to Koshiro, you bow as Nymue had shown you, and you took off, heading back for, you said, the ship?
Yeah, I'm just looking for just looking for my friends. I'm gonna just hang out somewhere. I'm just going to find my friends.
Alrighty, off you go. Rowan, what is Rowan up to after she sort of checked in with those young individuals, and now you have your newly minted sword?
Assuming that what I was doing probably would have taken a little bit less time than everybody else, because I know Scylla's thing was taking her the whole day, and they were going off to the shrine. Rowan would have checked in on the students, stopped by the blacksmith to just kind of like check in, maybe do a little bit of sword training, and then she also would have started wandering to find her friends, probably heading towards the docks to see if she could see them rowing back or not, and just kind of wandering.
Alrighty, and the three of you guys, after you kind of have your little powwow out by the Shrine of Harmony here, what is your next move? What's your plan?
I also want to go back. I want to check in at the armory as well, so whenever you boys are ready to go.
I'm ready. Sure. Yeah.
Alright.
I'm ready to.
I will.
I would use shape water to try to help push the boat a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll push the boat out, make sure the boys are in, and push off.
You guys begin to head back towards shore. Thyxes, like a cartoon motorboat, is like shaping water behind the boat, sort of like propelling you guys along. You head back towards the shore. So Rowan,
you look over and it's like little shapes, water shapes of sea turtles that just headbutt the back of the boat over and over again.
So Rowan and Scylla, from your various locations on the island, as you're sort of wandering around, heading towards the dock, heading around, just trying to like kind of look up, probably a native Naporian, a Tiefling, and a Dwarf riding atop a boat, being like shape water motorboated towards the shore is pretty easy to spot. Like, there they are. So you see them heading back towards the shore, and it's easy enough if you're looking for them to like make your way, so that when they make the shore, you guys are all able to reconvene in one place together.
I am going to go... Damn it, what are the names?
Who are you looking for?
it Hachiro? Yeah, I'm going to Hachiro.
Hachiro, the Master Smith.
Yes.
Okay. Are you heading off on your own to visit with him, or are you like trying to drag the rest of these guys with you?
I mean, they're more than welcome to come. I'm just gonna like, for flavor, Nymue is gonna get her proper studded leather redone because the one she's wearing is very like makeshift from like the ships.
Sure.
So she wants her proper attire.
Okay.
Is what she's gonna go get.
Is anybody going with Nymue? She heads off towards Rowan. Yes. Scylla is Thyxes and Murderbeard?
Yeah.
Party affair? Okay. So the group of you head off together to go visit the smithy. The group of you kind of arrive there. As you approach the small kind of like little compound of buildings that you know contains the forge and everything. You can definitely hear from within. You hear the like ting 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 of metal being worked. As you approach Nymue, it is Ray, your younger brother, who you know is working currently as an apprentice here for the smith, who spots you guys first as he's in the process outside of rearranging a bunch of like leather, various like leather pieces, leather scraps that you know are probably like finishing pieces used for like wrapping hilts and things like that when blades and stuff are finished. He's in the process of like sorting some of that, reorganizing it a little bit. And he like lifts a hand in greeting to you as he sees you guys arrive.
Good morning.
He says, "Good morning.
Well,
how are you doing today?"
Not bad. A little weird, but
He
it's
says,
fine.
have you not fought any more giant monsters since you've been here?"
No, but I got the new vision, so that counts for something, right?
He shakes his head. He says, "And the only interesting thing that ever happens to me is when Master Hachiro has too much cheese and has the farts. And you show up
Maybe you
and there's
should get
giant
out
monsters and you're having visions." He says, "I've chosen clearly the wrong profession."
There's still time, brother. There's still time. I need a better outfit. Look at this shit. I need better armor. This is makeshift. I'm looking for my good stuff.
He looks at you and he says, "I wasn't going to say anything, but you do sort of look like you picked up your outfit out of a dumpster. I mean,
Pretty much accurate."
he says, "Well, Hachiro-sama is working inside, but it's only on a bunch of horseshoes that he needs to make for the some of the farming collective down in the valley.
Alright.
He could do that in his sleep, so I'm sure he won't mind being interrupted."
I will go interrupt him.
You head inside, and Hachiro is in fact, he's got like his like robe, his like shirt and tunic and stuff is like rolled down and like cinched at his waist by his belt, and he's sort of like ripped Master Roshi, where like his like robes are off, and he's like totally jacked as he's got this hammer, and he's just like hammering a horseshoe against an anvil, kind of like beating it into shape. He's got he's got like a quenching basin next to him, and then there's a table set to his other side where it appears he's like, as he's finishing these horseshoes, he's like kind of putting them off to the side. As you guys step in, he glances up at you briefly, takes a couple of quick like few like hammer, and then with his tongs like sets the horseshoe he's working on into the quenching basin, and he looks over at you and he says, What was my voice? I don't remember. He says, so you have returned.
Right.
What is it that I can help you with this morning?
Well, and I kind of just gesture at my leather armor. I need some good shit.
He nods. He says, it would bring considerable dishonor if a lunar warrior were to travel the kingdoms looking like a hobble
Yes,
to get
you
a
don't
mess.
have to rub it in, Hachiro-sama. I'm aware I look like trash.
He says, I believe we can find you something. And he, like, scans over the rest of you guys as you're standing there. And he says, these are your companions, yes?
So that's right.
And they travel with you everywhere, hmm?
Yes, they are stuck with me.
I see. He sets down his tools.
I kind of like bat my eyes at him, like, do you love me?
He says, that would not have worked on me if I were 40 years younger. It will not work on me now. However, news travels fast on this island. I hear you have spoken with your father. I also hear tell that you go forward from Naporia again out into the world, but this time with his blessing. This is good. That man can be as stubborn as an ox, but when he finally gets in a mood to move his position, his judgment is sound. It is what makes him the man he is. If you go forward with his blessing, your companions travel with you, and all of you represent Naporia. One of you already carries my craftsmanship at their hip. He gestures towards Rowan.
Rowan is like clutching the hilt and trying really hard not to like impulsively just bow a million times because she's still so in love with the sword. She's like, "Don't be weird. Don't be weird. Don't be weird."
She's picking up Naporian culture perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
One of you already carries my handiwork. You will wear armor befitting your station as a lunar warrior of this island. It does not do to have the rest of you looking like a bunch of hobos.
I love this man.
What are you talking about? I mean, look at Thyxes' leather pants. Aren't those the coolest thing you've ever seen?
That's probably the first thing that needs to go.
These were like top of the line when I purchased them. I mean,
Wait, how much?
Garbage line.
By any chance, did you purchase them from an island full of thieves, outlaws, and pirates?
you know, now that I think about it, yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Thyxes never buy pants from pirates.
Right on.
I knew you were coming to visit me because I heard your pants 5 minutes before you got here. He says...
Rutabaga says the same thing.
Oh no!
Oh, we gotta reset the Rutabaga counter.
Oh no!
Days since Rutabaga joke.
Don't taint Hachiro-sama with
Edit. We were at
Rutabaga.
1 and 0.
0.
That's not worth it.
It's been 0 days.
I need like one of those like, like air horns. He says, he looks at the group of you and he Nymue, he kind of like nods to you. He says, obviously I can craft a set of Lunar Warriors armor for you. He says, I believe I have several sets here that can be modified into your dimensions. He looks at you, Rowan, he says, you strike me as the type of warrior needing a set of armament and armor that are within my speciality as a metal worker. But he turns and he says, you other three, I will have to speak with some of the other craftsmen on the island. He says, you seem more suited to cloth and padded leather than metal and plate. So with that,
Spend your time looking for the others. I will only wear leathers scavenged from creatures that have passed naturally. It is my people's way. I am satisfied with what I have.
he nods at you. So with the exception then of Scylla, the other four of you, you have been kind of operating thus far, sans what might otherwise be your, like, starting equipment. So, that being the case, if you are, like, totally without your starting equipment, you're still, like, what your starting armor might be, you can add that to your inventory. Hachiro will acquire a set of that type of armor for you. If you do have a set of armor that, like, you know, makes sense, perhaps you have leather armor, that you managed to scavenge from pirates or whatever, you may make like a one-step upgrade to your armor. If you've got leather, maybe you want to upgrade to studded leather. If you have cloth, maybe you want to upgrade to padded cloth is not a thing in D&D. Cloth to leather.
Yeah,
to
padded
leather,
armor
maybe.
is a type of light
I knew it
armor.
was something, padded armor. I will leave that to your discretion to do. We don't need to make a whole big fuss about it. I trust that you guys kind of know what, like, a one-step armor upgrade for yourselves is from whatever you have currently equipped. You may do that. And Hachiro will either craft for you or procure via the help of other craftsmen here on Naporia appropriate armor for yourselves.
Matt, is it possible, because as a sorcerer, I have no armor proficiency, so I wouldn't need any armor. Would it be possible, instead of carrying around this broomstick, this broom handle, that I could get like an actual, just regular quarterstaff that would seem more appropriate for my character to have?
Absolutely, you can. You can get a Naporian made
Absolutely
quarterstaff.
Do you think I could get a breastplate?
Oh, I just tipped over my ring light. Blah, 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 blah. You had what chain? You starting with like chainmail, right?
No, I started with studded leather because
Studded
she
leather.
was
Is
weak as
breastplate the
fuck.
next step up, or is chainmail the next step up from?
Studded leather is the highest AC of the light
Medium armors?
armors.
Light armors, rather.
Yeah.
No, studded is a light armor.
It's light.
Studded
And,
is
she's
light
breast,
like
armor.
and is
way
breastplate
under-
the like of the upgrading to heavy armor?
Second highest, I think, because it goes. Hang on. There's
Hide armor would make no sense for Nymue. I will say that right now. It's not good.
chain, scale mail, breastplate, half plate.
Where are we at here? So you're at studded leather right now, right?
Yes.
Let me just double check.
What's your dex modifier?
My AC right now is 15. My dex mod is 13, or is plus 3, 16.
So yeah, because with studded leather, if you were to hide would actually downgrade you. Because they have a max 2.
If not, I
Sure,
can
we
just
give you a
say
plus
like flavor
1.
wise and keep it studded leather.
I'm just
as
looking
long-
at what the costs are across various items. I'm not necessarily opposed to.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, here it is. I got it. I found
the
what I was
next
looking for.
one up would
The scale mail?
breastplate would be a plus 1 to her current AC with her current armor because it's a 14 plus 2.
I'm inclined to say the best that they craft for it. They're like, to hell with it. Yes. I'll tell
Are
you
you
why.
sure?
Yes, I'll tell you
Okay.
why. Breastplate is more expensive. It's like more expensive than I was sort of thinking of what like he is going to craft, give to you. But the step down from that would be scale mail.
Mm-hmm.
However, scale mail offers disadvantage on stealth.
Yes.
I feel is very uncharacteristic for thematically what we are going for with a Naporian warrior's armor.
Right.
So that
Right.
being the case, I'm gonna make the executive decision that they don't mess with clanky loud armor here in Naporia. So
That makes
yes,
sense.
breastplate
you.
breastplate is fine.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Would breastplate be also applicable to Rowan?
Sure.
Okay.
As well as Murderbeard, because I was also wearing studded leather.
Breastplates all around, baby.
Damn, all right.
He's just throwing them out like it's Christmas. Why not? Who cares?
Scylla and Thyxes can get like
Thyxes gets a
wooden-
breastplate. He
little,
can
like, wooden one.
sled on it in the winter if he wants.
We'll just get him like a pleather one that is it's like really really shiny,
There you go.
so that he can start
He gets
getting a
one
whole
made out of
uniform
model
going.
magic.
The
I will
Fisher
give him
Price
my
breast-
shitty
breastplate.
studded leather for him to reuse.
I'll take a breastplate too, and then I'll get the captain to teach me how to sell it on the black market.
There you go.
That's-
Damn it.
Step number 1, go to the docks. Step number 2, ask for a guy named Lefty.
Is it-
Shit.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are able to. It takes probably a little bit of time to get all this together, but we'll sort of hand wave the time constraint of that and say that before you leave the island, you are bequeathed these things by Hachiro.
Oh my god, we all have the same aesthetic. I'm so happy.
I imagine
chest bumps
probably.
are gonna be awesome.
I imagine probably before he gives them to you, there is some
They have our
there is
names
some
on them.
aesthetic work done to them. I think probably you guys can kind of you guys can take a little bit of control of that if you would like. I assume Nymue, you get a very traditional, very official. It's got the twin moons lunar warrior symbol emblazoned right on the center of it. It is in the colors of Naporia. It is extremely official in a way that, though unspoken, you get the sense is this aged smith, this aged armorer and weapon master making a statement, and a similar statement to the conversation that you have been kind of undertaking with your father, in that it is not the completion of a specific course of study, a specific amount of hours of training, a specific amount of structured tests and levels of training in a school that ultimately makes the lunar warrior who they are. It is a statement that, while those things are important, it is the honorable warrior spirit that is what makes a lunar warrior a lunar warrior. You get the sense that, without voicing it, this armor in its very, very traditional form is a statement from the smith that you take as an endorsement of his belief in that spirit inside of you. For the others of you, if you have particular feelings on perhaps what slight modifications might be sensible for your character, if you don't, I can certainly recommend some. Hachiro is a fairly perceptive individual, and probably has some thoughts of his own. But at least from an out of character standpoint, I'm more than willing to relinquish the choice of like some modifications to you as the player, to say that then this is sort of what Hachiro comes up with.
Rowan would definitely let Hachiro decide for her. She's originally inclined to ask for the symbol of her god, but all of her stuff means she's not willing to ask for it.
Sure.
So she says, "You do what you want to my stuff."
Murderbeard would specifically request the crest and family motto, which is, so on the big center of the chest, it's a rapier, but the end of it is all like bent up. And then in Dwarvish, it says "get bent."
Hachiro has Ray do that part. He says the strength, durability, versatility, and superior nature of this armor is a testament to my craftsmanship. But your weird dwarven sort of sexual family motto will not be placed by my hands upon my craftsmanship. I make my apprentice do this part. And Ray is like, yeah, happily does it. Doesn't even give a crap. He engraves with a chisel your crest on there. The dwarven runage is maybe not great. As based on Murderbeard's upbringing, Murderbeard probably doesn't have a great grasp on the dwarven dialect and the dwarven alphabet. And Ray certainly has no experience with it. So it's like, to an actual dwarf, it sort of looks like a child etched this like runage with their non-dominant hand on your breastplate. But to most laymen, like that's not going to mean anything.
Who doesn't speak a language gets a tattoo in another language, and they're like, "Yeah, it means strength and honor," and then a native reads it, and like, "That means trash can."
Yeah, they're like that says soup. What are you doing? So you absolutely get that. With Rowan sort of relinquishing her control, I think probably what Hachiro does is the sort of the stylistic engravings, the aesthetic choice. It's left very much unadorned. He creates a piece of armor that is it's no different in its construction than say Nymue's or Murderbeard's piece of armor, in that it is just as strong, just as sturdy, just as versatile, just as lightweight. But it's been left. It's not been painted. It's not been engraved in any special way. It's been left in its natural state. And in a way, it seems to feels to you that the statement is the strength that lies within comes from the function, comes from the temper of the metal. When you are strong, when you are resilient, when you are unshakable in your conviction, you do not need the external validation of displaying that to the world for their approval or disapproval. The power comes from within you, and there is no need to be anything more than pure functionality and an inner strength. equipped with all of your fancy breastplates. Oh, GroovyBot just joined the server out of nowhere. I don't know if somebody did that for me.
He went to sleep.
He went to sleep and somebody
I
fixed
added him again because he fell asleep.
Thank you. I heard the bloop and he started. Oh, you know why? I never looped the queue earlier when I started him. So we got to the end of that playlist and he stopped.
Quick question, because the player does not know exactly. I'm trying to search it, but the traditional samurai robe, that was called a kimono. Is it kimono? Does that sound? Is that what that's called?
No,
It's a Kristy
you're
question.
you're
Full show.
you're probably thinking of like hakama.
Hakama.
I think like a
okay.
Samurai Jack style.
Yeah, you're probably for you. it'd be
Yeah,
hakama.
yeah.
Kimono is
Hakama,
is a
okay.
very traditional like women's.
That's women's. Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. It says Hakama traditionally form part of a complete outfit called a kamishimo. Kamishimo.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know this stuff. That's new to me. But I would like them to make me a robe similar to that in purples and greens. And I would also like to have printed all over it, if possible, imagery, almost like repetitive and in different formats around it, kind of like a Hawaiian shirt, of massive dire wolves engulfed in green flame, and also massive island spirits engulfed in green flame as well, all around. And in between all that, maybe little images of our
We have
ship.
a Hamasan over here.
Yes, they make you. They are able to make you a Tommy Bahama sorcerer's robe. The dire wolves have a little bit of that look of if you can kind of envision the so the sort of the very if you think of like very traditional like Japanese stylistic, like the way they draw dragons, the wolves have a little bit of that look to them. The island spirit is fairly well represented to what it looked like as like the artisan that they find to weave this and stitch this. Saw it like 3 days ago. So absolutely, they can make you a Bahamas print sorcerer's robe with dire wolves and island spirits and things on it.
Sister Skull Kid says that she saw a hoodie like that before in Hot Topic. So
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause we should all base our D&D character clothing off Hot Topic.
That's right.
Yep. 100%.
Hey,
Oh,
some of
boy.
us do.
Also has
Joker. Well,
no, and Nymue also has the hakama
Yes.
pants that sprawl out in big poofy flowy moment.
All right, so yeah, you guys have sort of equipped yourself with this new armor. A little bit. Some of you are invoking the spirits of the Council of Elder Archmages Evanescence a little bit with your wardrobes. But you guys are bedecked in some upgraded arms and armaments. What's your next move? What's your plan here? Who gets the Jinko jeans?
Yeah, I think I would probably just go around and say goodbye to Ray and people that I'm familiar with before getting ready to go.
So besides Ray, anybody specific that you are visiting?
I'll probably say goodbye to Dad.
He has specifically requested that, like, when you guys kind of make your plan for your next move, to like chat with him as a group.
All right.
So
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
have
do
to
that.
at least visit him one more time.
Yeah.
If Nimue's okay with it, I'm literally just following her because I'm good.
Yeah. She seems visibly more relaxed and not at all bothered by it.
I'll go talk to Daddy Nimue.
Should we all go talk to Daddy? Let's go talk to Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only if we all agree to make hard eye contact and call him daddy the whole time.
Jenny. No.
You guys head back to the Lunar Warriors school. You are shown back to meet with. Is it also? We went through this last time too, right? Ray.
Zen is her brother. Ray is
Zen
her
is the brother.
That's what I thought, but I figured
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah,
idiot
yeah.
who never
I had
knows
this.
the
I
name.
had this wrong in my
Ray
notes.
Jr.
Ray
He's
Jr.
No, he's Zen. I remember I had
No,
that
Ray
wrong, and I
Jr. is
never
a car
corrected it.
salesman.
He's yeah. So Ray is your father. Zen was your
It's
brother.
okay. I'm
I
too
had it
hot
wrong.
to notice. It's
I
fine.
had it wrong in my notes. So you go back and you visit your father. You're kind of shown into an audience with him. As you guys arrive, he looks at you and he says, "It is my understanding that you wish to sail into Ignian territory to follow the lead that you have procured by way of this letter, seeking the capture of our people."
Hopefully, yes. That's the plan.
He nods and he says, "I have heard already of Hachiro's decision to arm you, provide you with equipment that you will need.
He's
Approve
very
of this."
gracious.
He nods. He says, "This is honorable of him." He says, "For my part, we must spread the word. There are many of our community, of our people, spread across the 5 kingdoms, doing the work of the Lunar Warrior. They are in danger, they must be notified.
Gosh, Connie.
We will
You're
see
right.
to it that this is done.
Okay.
I have thought much on what we have seen over the past several days that you have been here. If I have learned anything from what I have witnessed, it is that perhaps the spirits of Egeria have plans of their own, and that perhaps the best thing that one such as myself can do is to not stand in their way. I feel that your path to enter the Empire's territory, the finding of this letter in the first place, it is fate. It is the will of the spirits. It is whatever inexplicable force that is much greater than the individual wills of any small mortals such as ourselves. If I can assist you in some small way, I will. Even if that is only to offer my counsel as you discuss your plans for visiting this territory. He kind of like looks out past you towards where you know sort of is the direction of the docks. And he says, I imagine your first hurdle will be that you are attempting to sail into Empire waters upon one of their vessels.
The mecha. Yeah. Out of character, how much did we disguise our ship? Not very well, right?
You disguised your ship enough that sailing around, you probably if you're not undergoing too much scrutiny,
From a distance, we're good.
either from a distance, you're okay. Not to the point where you are going to dock at an Ignean port,
Mhm.
at one of their port cities, and nobody's gonna be like, oh!
Oh. All right. Well, Captain, what are you thinking? Is this something we just smash our way in?
I mean, I may have a lot of faith in this crew, but we certainly can't take on the entirety of the Ignean Empire.
Your father, he says, I would advise that attempting to go in cannons blazing alone into an Ignean city's port is ill-advised.
What if we could find perhaps a cove to hide the ship, or if we can find a secluded island that is not too far? I can make us breathe water for a day if we need to swim.
That's a good option.
Not a bad idea. I was also going to suggest maybe we commandeer ourselves a much smaller or inconspicuous looking ship.
Hachiros says, that is a way in which I may be able to offer my aid. I have the authority to commandeer a vessel here from Naporian. Smaller, of course, but if your goal is to hide your vessel, to slip quietly into the Ignean port, there at least I may be able to help you.
Cool, because I was thinking we'd just go steal one. I mean, borrow one from... Not from you, we would steal it from somebody else. I mean, borrow it from somebody else. I'm just saying there's a lot of boats out on the ocean that the people that could be persuaded to not be on their boat anymore.
There is a like generous pause as Nymue, you sense that your father is like deeply struggling with his sense of morality and right and wrong. And eventually like what he comes to is there is inherent complication based on recent events, as there is with sailing your vessel, clearly of Ignean design. Sailing a vessel of Naporian make into an Ignean port. He can't quite bring himself to voice the words. He can't quite bring himself to voice the words, maybe you could fly better under the radar if you steal somebody else's boat. And he just sort of leaves it at that, and that's like as close as he is able to bring himself to endorsing piracy.
That's huge for him, though.
Nimue, you know that was big for him.
I pat him on, like, the knee, like, I see you.
Well,
yes, permanent borrowing.
I just doing this lovely ring.
I suppose permanent borrowing could be a better option.
Permanent borrowing. I like the way you think.
Thanks, Sister Skull Kid.
What will happen to the Grimm's Folly?
We have a whole crew of people that can manage to keep the Grimm's Folly afloat while the crew of us...
Infiltrate, yeah.
I imagine we'll still go with the, hide the ship somewhere close.
Right.
And take the smaller boat into port.
But we're going to need the smaller boat.
Here's the plan. We get a series of smaller and smaller boats. And eventually, by the time we get to port, we're in such a small boat, nobody notices us.
At that point, why don't we just take our rowboat, our lifeboats?
Not small enough, Nymue.
It's like
us rowing in a bunch of buckets.
We all come. Yeah, it's like it's 5-gallon buckets.
I was gonna say smash cut to you guys are like underwater with a bunch of like reeds that you're like breathing out of.
I also have water breathing.
I can make us breathe.
I can make us breathe or walk on water. I can do all of it.
So at that point, we don't even need the boat.
On water is just not obvious at all. Just a whole crew of people who don't fit in the empire.
Perhaps five people walking across the bay is not the most subtle entrance to make into an Ignian port.
Ignians, I am your new messiah. Bow before me.
Captain, you can just speak to the stingrays and the dolphins again, and just have them guide us into port, right?
I guess. Or we could just go with the normal, smaller ship plan.
Yes, it would be a little odd for us to row up in a rowboat, but if we sailed up in a small sailboat, that's more normal.
I mean, we're also all forgetting that we're all gonna stick out real bad in the Empire
that's
anyway,
true.
so...
Especially if
We're
they're
gonna
looking
attract
for loot
some-
warriors.
We're gonna attract some attention, we're just trying to limit how much.
Well then, Captain, what do you think? A Naporian ship to bring along with our own?
I don't know. Ray's did bring up a good point, that Naporian ship is also gonna raise some questions.
But
Especially after
probably,
what just happened here.
but
Perhaps-
probably less questions than a Naporian ship.
Perhaps not so many questions as an Ignian ship. Enough at least to allow you to make land and lose yourselves within the city.
That's probably
Well, it's either Ignian ship or steal another ship.
And not to
I
be
feel like
inconsiderate or
you're
anything,
confusing
but
Naporia and Ignian Empire a lot in this conversation that we're having.
If we bring the Naporian vessel,
Chat suggests you guys Uber.
maybe that will.
There's
bring-
a ship.
I downloaded the app. Let me just get it.
Oh, that's weird. Captain Pegfist is 42 minutes away in the Sea Reaver. That's weird.
Okay, everyone, we're looking for a light schooner. A light schooner. Do you see it?
Michael, what were you saying?
Well, if we bring a Naporian ship to port, wouldn't that possibly attract the kind of attention that we're looking to attract there?
Yes.
That's a fair
Yeah,
point.
we can always claim we stole that after we captured a Naporian.
Oh,
Another point
It's
is,
possible.
well, we do have a Naporian who is very visibly a lunar warrior in our party, and we would be rolling up to the Empire, which is the crux of the civilization, looking for these people
Yes,
And
we're
you would
gonna
just
use
be
her as
walking.
bait.
right in.
We discussed this. She's gonna be live bait. What better way to bring out
Nymue,
a whole bunch of-
do you want to be live bait?
They're not looking for ugly dwarves.
it's not the worst idea. If that means we can get closer to the source. And in turn find other Luna warriors that have potentially already been taken. At least then we have an in. See what exactly they're looking for.
Would you want to be bait as in like a captured lunar warrior, or perhaps acting as a false diplomat to try to gain audience, perhaps with somebody who has more information. Or a traitor.
I was gonna say traitor if she's turning on her homeland because, you know, sell it that she has had a falling out with everyone here at the island, and that's why
Oh,
she's
that's
selling
easy
a
to
bunch
do.
of
I
us.
just kind of grin at my dad.
Rip.
Trying not to draw
Alright,
attention to
Dad.
it.
Yes, I think
Poor Ray.
I think Rowan has a good point. If we can sell it that you are perhaps willing to betray your people, maybe that would give us an in.
We can definitely workshop it on the way, but I think that's a good start.
That sounds like a so. As long as we end up getting to punch a bunch of slavers in the dick, I don't care how far we get there.
I think we all agree on that one. Father,
He's been listening to all
I see
this.
your
since-
face.
You have that little vein, like in his
Yeah.
forehead.
Daddy!
He's been like this for a while. And eventually he
We
goes,
broke him. Boy.
okay.
Okay.
He says, you have made it thus far. Your exploits, of which I have heard. You have displayed phenomenal aptitude and prowess here in our own homeland. I will trust that while it may sound like you are attempting to wing this totally out of your collective asses, you are capable of handling whatever may come. There are, in light of this, 3 ways that I believe that I can help you. First, as I mentioned, I believe that I can provide a ship for you to sail with. It will be small, no more than a small single-sailed fishing vessel, but large enough to reasonably have traveled the distance from Naporia. I have already spoken. I have already spoken with Minako. She is prepared to do what must be done to procure such a vessel from its owner, on the expense of the Council of Elders. Second, I can see that your ship is resupplied with food, fresh water, any ammunition that you might require. Third, and he stands up and he says, wait here. And he leaves the little courtyard that you are in. And a few minutes later, he returns. In his hands, he is carrying a small box, perhaps yay big. He sits back down with you guys. And he says, these were brought to Naporia by a soul-touched lunar warrior many years ago. They were found in a strange and long-forgotten ruin somewhere within the 5 kingdoms. It was the desire of the individual that brought these back to us, that they be held here until it was apparent that a Naporian of sufficient honor and purpose take them, put them to use for the good of this nation, and perhaps even beyond. He says, they are in some ways merely trinkets, but they held great significance for the one who brought them back to us. And he places them on the ground in front of you.
I will take the box.
You open the box, and there are 2 rings inside, like you would wear on your finger. They are made out of metal that you can't quite identify, but you are familiar with in the sense that, like, you have seen something that looks like this before. Most recently, in fact, you saw a material that looked like this when you guys were on Glazow. The walls of the ancient Invarian fort that has been repurposed and turned into Fort Blackwell are made of a material that looks very much like the material that these rings are made out of. They are a sort of a hybrid between a metal and a stone-looking material, and they are sort of a champagne in color. And Ray says, when 2 people wear these rings, they are somehow connected. We do not understand the nature of this magic. It is from a time long since lost to the world. But we believe that they could be incredibly useful for those such as yourselves undertaking these uncertain and dangerous missions. I sense that something as simple as the ability to communicate across a distance may very well prove invaluable to you, and through you, to many more across this land. He reaches out and he takes one of the rings, puts it on his ring finger, his left hand, like one would a wedding ring. He gestures for you to do the same.
Put the ring on.
In your mind, you hear your father's voice. This is the power of these items. He says, I understand that by your nature you have an ability similar to this. But I'm not going to count out the words, but at a certain point, like, it stops in your head and he has to pick up speaking. He says, but I, not gifted by the spirits, do not, save when I wield this item. The other bearer of the match set of this ring, separated by any amount of distance across the entire face of Agiria, is reachable with only a thought. You are limited. Only once per day may you do this, and your message must be brief. He takes the ring off his finger and he puts it back in the case. He says, "While any two of you wear one of these rings, you have the ability to communicate with each other.
Thank you. You use them well. I'll take the ring off and close the box.
That he stands up. And he kind of sort of his body language changes. He goes back into this very formal kind of mode. Nymue, you get the sense that perhaps this expression of honesty has maybe it's been a little much for him around essentially a bunch of strangers.
He's overstimulated
It's been a lot for him today.
He's like, I don't like the feel.
So he kind of stands up and he says, "I will see that these things are done for you. Make ready your preparations and know that you go with the blessing of Naporia." And he bows respectfully to the group of you and turns and leaves.
1 second, fam. And I'm just gonna run after him really quickly and kind of turn him around, and I'm gonna lean up and give him a kiss on the cheek, but when I do, I go, "Consider what I said. Try dating again. Okay, love you, bye!" And I run away.
Okay, so any final business here in Naporia, or we will otherwise set sail?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I just asked Nymue what she would say to say goodbye to the whole island, and I asked her to write it down for me in 10 words or fewer on a piece of paper. And I take it and I wait until we get back to our ship.
Okay. You guys, Kristy, are you sending that to her over Discord or whatever?
Oh, I already did, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I already have it.
So you guys, all right, you able to do that? Then in that case, everybody else good?
Yes.
Perfect. You guys return to the ship. You spend another day or so. You have a little bit of a time lapse here as your armor is crafted, your armor is made. You get your armor, your ship is resupplied. A Naporian vessel. It's a little bitty fishing boat. Holds the 5 of you and maybe 1 or 2 other people. Single sail. Small enough that it's able to be basically lashed to the side of the Grimm's Folly, and you can kind of sail along with it. They kind of set that up for you. Your various crew members who have been kind of doing their shore leave thing, as there's been nothing for them to do here, gather back. Word spreads that the Grimm's Folly is going to set sail again soon. Eventually, all of the crew gets on board. And a few hours after dawn, a few days after you kind of settle all of these things, you guys are ready to make sail.
Out of character, just inventory-wise, they're pretty much sending stones, but in ring form.
I will give you yeah, more or less.
Okay.
There's a little bit of some specifics to them, but
Okay.
yes, basically they operate as sending stones.
Cool.
You guys prepare in the morning. It's Folly. Your crew is there. Apora Dozan is striding back and forth across the deck, occasionally prodding a deckhand into looking alive and getting things ready. Ropes are being hauled in, sails are being unfurled, things are being prepared and made ship ready to sail. You see up in the crow's nest, Tea Kettle is perched, sitting on the outer lip of the basket ring of the crow's nest, kind of looking out, sort of bouncing excitedly, occasionally as she sort of looks down at what's going on below. She gives a and then lets out some cycling variant of look alive, ye sea dogs, things like that she's picked up from somewhere. She just sort of good-naturedly yells down at the sailors getting ready. And the Grimm's Folly is made sea ready and made ready to sail. You guys haul in the anchor and are ready to cast off. Murderbeard, as you are kind of up at the helm, Portozan strides up next to you, and they turn to look at you, and they say, "Captain, all of the crew's belongings are stored. The deck is secure. The ship is ready to set out. At your order."
All right. Let's raise the anchor and make way.
And you give that
The
call,
Empire.
and immediately Apora echoes it. You say, "Raise anchor." She says, "Raise anchor." And then a cry across the deck goes up, "Raise anchor! Raise anchor!" And you hear the
You heard the captain. Raise the anchor.
yeah, Thyxes joins in. The crew begins hauling in the anchor. The chain slides up across the deck as the anchor is hauled up, and the sails unfurl, and the ship begins to move out away from the dock.
As we are leaving, I take the piece of paper that Nymue gave me, and I just flick a drop of seawater on it, and then all of the ink will disappear, and it goes into the little drop of water, which then will turn into mist in the shape of an albatross that flies up into the sky, but then it gets bigger and bigger, and I cast Skywrite, and it leaves the message, "Honor to the children of the moon," in traditional Naporian language. But Skywrite can leave messages in the sky out of clouds of 10 words or fewer for 1 hour.
So this appears above the skies of Naporia, and a fair little crowd has gathered upon the docks and upon the shore to watch you guys leave. You sort of have made a name for yourself here in the island. As you guys cast off and sail away from shore, you see a few familiar faces. Nymue, you see Zen on the shore. He's waving to you enthusiastically. You see that Minako is there. You see the Kochiro is there. You see that Hachiro is there. He's he procured a barrel from somewhere that he's sitting on. He's like, "I'm not standing up for this." He's kind of sitting and watching. And of course you see your father, and he is arms clasped behind his back, steely expression. He just watches you go. You sort of catch his eye. You see his eyes flick up, scroll across Scylla's skywriting, flick down to you, and he gives you a nod. And as he gives you this nod, and as you sail away from the island, your mind kind of latches onto a long forgotten memory from your much younger years. You think about those rings that he gave you. And that strange material they're made out of. You remember you have a distinct, vivid memory of being no more than 4 or maybe 5. Long before you ever began your training. Long before really thoughts of potentially being a soul touched were ever on your mind, when you were still just burdened only by the cares of a small child and things that are important to one who knows very little of the world. You have a distinct memory of being picked up, held into the air, and spun around, set back down, and your hair being brushed back behind your ear. You remember looking into your mother's face when she was still alive. You remember seeing on her finger that champagne-colored ring. One of the two in the box that your father has imparted to you. And the Grimm's Folly sails away from Naporia, shrinks further and further in the distance. You see people waving till they get too small to see.
I just hug the box to my chest as I watch Naporia disappear on the horizon.
And off you sail, heading due north mostly. You're heading for the Empire. Eventually you'll have to bear to the west, but you need to make your way north to kind of angle around some of the island chain. But you head off in this direction. You know, based on your maps and charts, you have about a 10-day of sailing ahead of you to get from where you are now to the Ignean city of Miathderai. When you get closer, you will probably, you'll have to kind of hunt around and find a suitable place to moor the Grimm's Folly while you take this smaller vessel closer to the city. But at the very least, for now, you have several days of clear, open sea to sail. I'd like to give you guys the opportunity as you begin this this little sea voyage here, bearing in mind that you have, a 10-day here. You have days with which to fill with something. Is there anything that you would like your characters to do? Anything, any business your characters have with one another? Anything with any of the other crew of the Grimm's Folly? I'm gonna just put the control in your hands for a little bit to kind of do what you want to do as you guys sail.
Matt, could we take a quick break to think about it?
Yeah, can we take a quick break?
We can. I'm probably not looking to go much longer regardless. We can, it's what, 8:39?
All of us have to pay.
We'll take like a quick break. We'll come back. Take a quick break. We're probably not going to do much more than like another 30-ish minutes when we come back.
Sure.
But yeah, if you guys want to kind of mull it over a little bit, absolutely. So let's do that. And those of you who are still with us, appreciate you hanging out. Hope you're enjoying things so far. Scylla's already gone. We will see you in a couple of minutes. And don't go anywhere. We will be right back as soon as I find where the mid-roll ads are. Bye. I've learned my lesson. For those of you at home, welcome back. We're here. I've learned the lesson that I need to go 3, 2, 1, go, and then wait for Victoria to yell something dumb, and then I go live. Thwarted. I've thwarted your plan. So welcome back. We all of our bladders are significantly lighter than they were 5 minutes ago, so we are back to complete our episode tonight. We last left the gang here as they had just set sail away from Naporia, and they are beginning a 10-day long journey on their thank you, chat. Beginning a 10-day long journey on their way from the island of Naporia to the coastal port city within the Ignean Empire of Umyath Durai. So, I gave you guys the prompt before we left that over the course of this time at sea, you guys had ample time to have some interpersonal moments, either with each other or with other members of the crew. You guys ostensibly were taking the time to think about that over the break, and I will give you the floor.
Out of character, did I think I did this, but I don't know if I actually did it. Did I get Kivo and Kenna to like stay at the school to like learn more stuff?
I assumed they got back on the boat and are coming with you again.
Yes.
But yes,
okay.
no, they have been continuing to keep up their like kind of their training.
I think Nymue wants to test them to see what they've learned over like the 10-day that we've been at Naporia. She wants to see what they've picked up.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So you were able to like kind of haul them up one day on deck, and you bring the two of them there. Let me just double check that I have the right name here. I believe their guardian is Ogatumbe.
Yeah, it is.
Ogatumbe kind of comes up as well. He sort of, keeps a safe distance and is watching. He's definitely relegated himself to the guardian of these two. But you bring them up on the deck of the Grimm's Folly early one morning, and the two of them kind of stand there waiting to see what it is that you have in store for them.
I kind of want to see, because I'm assuming that we have like early form katas for children. So
Sure.
I want to see if they picked up any of that and just watch and try and be the opposition to the kata. So when you're doing your kata forms, you're imagining a person in front of you. So I want to be that person. Like, you've practiced the kata forms, but I want to come at you. So I want you to do exactly as the kata says, but with a person.
Okay. Make a couple of quick rolls for these children's. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have expected of these two. Okay, so
Oh no.
Kivo, the young halfling boy,
Yes.
and Kenna, the young halfling woman. They display for you their katas. They run through a series of poses, stances, of body motions flowing from one to the next in a very regimented sequence that they have been training on first with you, and then a little bit over the course of the week or so that you guys were. You can immediately tell they both possess something of a natural affinity for you intuit eventually down the line for hand-to-hand combat. However, Kivo, you have continued to notice is, while it is something that he seems to enjoy, he seems to find engaging and interesting, and he is taking to it reasonably well. He is engaging with it with the air of, a young person who is not necessarily applying the gravitas to it that comes with age and experience, and understanding that one thing connects to the other, and at the end of this line is potentially life and death.
Right.
scenarios, fighting. Kenna continues to approach these with a bare-toothed, single-minded tenacity that in some ways you actually can kind of tell it's actually holding her back. Her brother is in some ways progressing more than she is, because you watch her and you see that like the slightest misstep in her form she takes note of, and she's beating herself up over, and she's like inwardly turning this aggression and this anger that she has on herself.
Oh.
And it's holding her back. And you step into this training with them, and you kind of begin to go through these katas with them, and you see that Kivo goes through the motions fairly well. He makes some mistakes. His footing is not perfect in some places. Several places his balance is not quite right, so that he goes through a motion, and he mimes one of the strikes of the katas, and when you tell him to hold, you then like push him in the chest lightly, and he like falls backwards off balance. And you explain to him, like, your foot should be here. You see how you're not centered. Your opponent can knock you over. And he takes this in stride good-naturedly. And as you progress through this same exercise with Kenna, she listens to everything that you say religiously. You take it as law. You see her trying to incorporate it. But she is frustrated, and you correct her footing, or similarly you push her, and you see that she slips off balance, and you kind of show her, if you're pushed this way and you shift your weight, you are now here, you are open to a strike in this in this form, and she takes that as like, you can see that she's internalizing as if it is a failure. And as the practice goes on, you find that like she gets to a point towards the end where like she's going through the motion, you're putting yourself in opposition, and there are points where she's like she's transitioning from one kata to the next, and like the fist or the leg or the shoulder or the elbow, whatever it might be, is coming like fast. She's a child. Like, she's not going to be physically able to like deal you a blow that is going to hurt you, but like you can tell that she is like the mental balance and the mental sort of tranquility expected within these things, she has like entirely missed the boat on. She is like, there is like deep anger in her movements.
Okay. I think after spending one day testing them and seeing that in Kenna, I would give her a day to like decompress. I wouldn't like force her back into it right away, but I would go talk to Scylla. And potentially Rowan, because Rowan probably needs it too. Scylla, do you think you could help me guide Kenna in a meditation?
Why?
She seems to be having a lot of inner turmoil, self-aggression. I think she needs to find some balance. She's taking everything very seriously, but almost too seriously. She has potential, but I think she needs to find inner peace before I move her forward.
Or perhaps she needs to find a way to harness her anger in constructive ways instead of letting it ruin her from within.
Yes, I agree. I was hoping maybe you had an idea on how to approach her.
Yes, I can children, and had their fate been up to me, they would have been thrown to sea, as is befitting of the weak, but I suppose I can try something.
That would be appreciated. I will help, of course. Should we get Rowan in on this?
Probably.
Okay, I'll go find Rowan and drag her into it as well. You probably need some meditation, girl. Let's go.
Rowan was probably like reading the book that she got from the house, with like probably sitting near Thyxes at that point, and then like what, and then like it's like dragged off.
Thyxes doesn't even notice. He's just flipping pages.
So I will get them probably. It's probably like been a full day since the training before I approach Kenna again with the girls.
Okay. You come up to them. You guys, as you approach, Kenna's like kind of off in a sort of little chunk of deck that she could grab that was like vaguely out of the way, and you come up and she's doing like push-ups on her knuckles as you guys come up. As she's like even like outside of the training session, she just goes and like tries to train more on her own. So you guys come over and she stops what she's doing and she gets up. And if you'll remember, she has a habit of she doesn't speak much.
Right.
And when she does speak, it's usually to her brother, who then like translates to you. But she kind of stands up and she looks over you, like waiting to see what it is that you want, as the three of you have like come over to her.
I will activate my mind link so she can understand. Because I don't know if Nimue's ever figured out if she understands Common or just like chooses to pretend.
You've been traveling long enough with these children, with these people, to know like she definitely understands Common.
All right.
She probably doesn't speak it as well, but you are pretty sure she understands it. Like in the same way that like Movor, the orc that you have on your crew, like also Common is not his native tongue, but like he knows enough to get by.
Okay.
You get the sense that like this blockage with like speaking to you and to other people is not based fully in like a linguistic barrier.
A language barrier.
It has deeper roots.
Gotcha. I think we should take the day and have a nice, calm, relaxing day. Not so focused on the physical, more on the mental and the inner. Do you understand what I mean?
She says, I am not sure that I know this, but if it is to help me get stronger and better on my practices, I will do as you say.
I will translate for the girls if they want to engage in conversation with her as well.
Rowan would, crouch down or like kind of like just lean down a little bit, so it's more of a private her speaking to Kenna thing for a moment. And you can tell she looks a little awkward about like, I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice on these kinds of things. But she just looks at Kenna and says, I used to train to fight every day. And while you're practicing and taking it seriously does matter, you need to remember that no one is the perfect fighter. I thought I could be the perfect fighter, and I nearly died because I was arrogant about it. You're learning much better than I did. Don't beat yourself up. You will one day be able to beat all of us up. Just take your time, okay?
She doesn't really respond to you. You see like there's a little bit of like nostril flaring going on as you're like, can't train. You gotta like, can't train to be the perfect. But when you're like, one day you'll beat all of us up. You see like there's this like.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. A little.
So that definitely lands with her, and she at least seems willing to go along with whatever it is that you guys are trying to do.
Before I stand up completely, I go, I don't really like meditating either. Just go with it. Wow.
I definitely heard that.
I know you did, but
I don't know if I heard that.
I'm hanging with the little one right now. I don't care. We'll
you
fight
can't.
about it later. It's fine.
The two of them will go off behind our backs and complain about it.
So that's me and Thyxes already. We're
Oh,
really
yeah, true.
Do I need to like roll an insight check or like something to like just like I just want to vibe check this child? Like what's the deal? Like what's up? Like
Yeah,
can
make
I
an
tell
insight.
like
Make an insight check.
why she's not talking?
check
Like
the
what she's
child.
feeling about all of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Green because I'm a druid. Go. You fools. 19.
Okay. With a 19, here's what I think you gather, and not just in this conversation, right? You have been you've been sailing on the ship with these people, like you have been ample opportunity to observe the members of the crew that you are traveling, including these two. You know, a little bit from what you have like had translated to you via Nymue, a little bit of what you've heard about, like, you know how they got here. You know that they had been living in the Empire. Their parents had been smuggling them out over the border. They got like loaded into a wagon and were supposed to get transported in this wagon over the border into Mithlande, where they would then be reunited with their parents. And you know that wagon never made it across the border. It was intercepted, and then they were taken prisoner and eventually sold into slavery. You know that Kivo, her brother, basically has all of this at face value. You know, takes all of this at face value, and he's very much like, you know, we need to find our way back to the mainland eventually. We need to get, you know, across the border. We need to go to this Mithlandian town because our parents are looking for us. And you know that, like, she will not elaborate on why she has this opinion, but she is of the opinion, like, they are not there. And, like, it is pointless to go look for them. You get the sense, Scylla, that Kenna, like, saw something or knows something, like something that she has internalized, has like deeply traumatized her. And you get the sense that the way that she has reacted to this is by creating like this hardened protective shell around herself, and that it is like covered in spikes and barbs, and it is fostering this like burning ember of rage inside her. In perhaps druidic terms, and in maybe more Firbolg and sort of Scylla-y terms, you know, Scylla you have expressed as very much of like the weak get, you know, the weak get left behind, the strong survive. Like, you kind of see Nymue and Rowan are sort of like trying to like foster maybe like a healing in her, a sort of reconciliation with whatever this is that she's experienced, and like an overcoming. You, I think, perhaps are more inclined to see in this young girl the spark of something that could be kindled into like an immense font of power for her.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because she Kivo is determined, but Kenna is angry, right?
Yes.
Like, she's like particularly like there's something that is making her like she's an angry kid.
Kivo seems to be driven by like, he enjoys the challenge, he enjoys the physicality of this training, he enjoys excelling at things. Kenna is like out to hurt somebody.
Yeah. Damn, okay. I just kind of like, I go up to her and I like, you know how like when you're a kid, adults will like kind of grab your face and they like look at you and they like grab your chin. I just kind of like grab her chin and I just like look into her eyes for like a while.
You like grab her. She doesn't move, but immediately like her nostrils flare, and like you can see that she's like taking offense to this like presumptuous contact that you've made with her.
You're very angry. Like do you know what a coyote is?
She, like her eyes flick over to where her brother is, and he speaks a word in Ignean. And then he speaks coyote in common. And she kind of nods to you a little bit.
Sometimes when a coyote gets caught in a hunter's trap, they will chew off their own leg to survive. And they are desperate and they are scared and they are angry, but they hurt themselves in the process. And I think you are a coyote.
I will translate mentally, just in case there's translation issues.
He kind of listens to this, and she says, she actually speaks directly to you, Scylla. She says, I have no one for Kivo for me. Only me. This is all.
Are you sure about that? I gesture to like the ship.
She looks, she says, they are stranger. They are like all other. They are protect, they say. They do not.
They're not your family.
Grits her teeth. No family. Only my brother.
It is okay to be angry, and I will not ask you why, but I know something has happened to you. I am angry too, but you risk burning too hot. The matches, when you strike one match, it burns very hot and bright, but all you have is the little stick, and then the fire is gone. But if you can find a way to sustain the fire and control it, then you can use it. If you continue to just flail like a pup, you'll never get anywhere.
Bristles at this. You're still like holding her, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
You say as you like call her a pup, she like tries to smack your hands away.
I hold her chin.
Ooh, make a strength check.
Okay.
Oh.
Thyxes begins to lower his book.
Ooh.
Natural 20.
She like lifts
so
her
this is a total
hands.
21.
She like lifts her hands and she tries to like move your hands off of her. And she's like not able to as you like hang on to her. You're like looking in her face.
Does
Make
she
an-
rage?
Make an insight
She's
check.
about to.
Make an
yeah.
insight check.
Is she raging?
And then make another
God.
strength check.
Yeah. Insight is a 12. Strength is 11.
Okay. As she tries to remove you from like physical contact with her and you like defy her, she goes like very still for like a half a second. And as you are this close to her face and you're in sight, you watch as her pupils go like all the way out and then all the way in to like pinpricks. And she goes, "Don't fucking touch me!" And she shoves you. She rolled a natural 20 on her second one.
Then I only rolled an 11.
This 4'2" halfling girl physically shoves Scylla like 5 feet backwards. Like bodily pushes you entirely off of her. And as you like are moved back from her, she's like and runs. Just runs and goes like below deck. And like the entire deck of the ship is like silent at this point. A moment later, Kivo like runs after her.
She's not ready to meditate.
There
To
are
gain the lessons that would be gained from that, one has to recognize the failings within themselves. I do think I am tempted to try to show her something that I can do. I don't know if she could learn it. I certainly don't think she could walk in the skins of beasts like me, but perhaps I can, with time, show her how to turn her anger into a physical, like this, and I just cast Primal Savagery and I grow like claws. I think she would benefit from that, but there is something happened to them, and she saw it, and Kivo didn't.
As you guys discuss this, Thyxes, you feel a tap on your shoulder. You turn.
Hey, yeah.
Movor is standing there.
Oh,
He's kind of
Movor.
like looking towards the direction that like all of this just went down on the deck.
Yeah, maybe not stare.
He sort of shrugs. He says,
idea right now, buddy.
No one have soul of Colvecum. Not for now. Movor has a question.
Sure, Movar. What is it?
In your common tongue, what is words for when go in water?
Swim? Is that what you're referring to, Movar? Swim?
Swim is go in water on purpose. What is words for go in water not on purpose?
Oh, there could be many, but are you talking about somebody's overboard, Movar?
This is
Is someone in the water?
He like points his, yes, this.
I turn and look immediately.
You
I'm
like turn over,
back-ish.
look, and I see it. You turn over, you look, and he like kind of stumps over to the edge with you, and he like points a finger out, and you see like kind of like off in the distance, you begin to see there's like kind of a darkening of the sky. There's like a sort of a foggy fog front sort of rolling in. It looks like there's maybe some inclement weather, but just on like the border of this, you can see some like stuff in the water, and he like points, and you squint and you look, and sure enough, on like a piece of like badly damaged like scrappy kind of driftwood, sure enough, there's a guy just like out to sea, and he goes,
This overboard, yes.
Captain, there's somebody out there.
What do you mean out there?
Apora
Look,
Dozan
there's
like
somebody
walks
out
over to
there.
you, and she like looks over the edge, and she turns back. She looks towards you, Murderbeard, and she like lets out the general cry. She goes,
It appears that we have a man overboard. Starboard bow.
Oh, but crying out loud. Murderbeard will go and grab a rope and quickly tie off a lasso and attempt to like throw it out to this
as the
man.
cry goes out across the ship, "Man overboard!" Murderbeard runs over, grabs a length of rope, throws it out in the ocean towards this solitary form floating atop a single piece of driftwood. That's where we'll call an end to tonight's session.
Oh snap! That escalated real quick. We have a barbarian child. This is great. I love it.
We're accepting the petition to rename the term for man overboard to danger bath as presented
Danger
to us by chat.
Danger bath. I love it.
Oh, goodness. All right, well, then we will leave you with that tonight. The party has discovered that it does seem that there is perhaps some latent rage, perhaps locked away in one of their young halfling wards, and it seems that off in the distance they have come across some sort of flotsam, apparently containing a person. Join us next week as we return with the Fool's Errand, as they are currently engaged in high shenanigans in a Valandan city up north, on business for the Ordinum Libri, and then back here 2 weeks from now, perhaps? Let's see, no, not 2 weeks from now. Maybe 2 weeks from now? I don't know. We're off at some point coming up soon. But what do I know? I just have to run the show. It's not like I should know anything about when we're on or when we're off, right? But when we come back next time, we will find out the resolution of what is going on with the unexpected danger bath that the party has encountered. So thank you once again to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. Thank you to Proficiency Bonus for hosting us and all of the other great D&D and other tabletop RPG shows that we have here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, follow, look for us on YouTube, check us out there. Do all of the internet things that you're supposed to do to make sure that you do not miss any of the content that we are producing here on a regular basis. And be sure to stay tuned because Proficiency Bonus's 4th annual birthday week is coming up in just a few weeks, and as is tradition, we will give away all sorts of stuff. We'll have all sorts of special things going on that week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, thank you for joining us. Have a lovely rest of your evening. We will see you next time.